Alrighty. Niggas got a Monday night holiday special.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, mm, mm. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Give me a thousand, this.
Hmm. One what?
Ah, no, you said Monday night holiday special.
Uh, I like it, B. Alright, we got that John up.
uh, uh, uh.
Who all we got in here right now? Let's see. We got ooh, 7 niggas in there. We got Solo, CK. They gonna be doing interviews.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. Alright, we
Pull
on
up on
this
my
jump.
phone. Oh, see, I couldn't grab on
It's minutes after the off season, year 5, the final season of the minor league.
now.
Niggas doing a Monday night call out commentary special.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Niggas got call out A Smith on the
Yeah.
mic.
What it do? What it do?
Mm.
What it do?
They got the whole league on the mic.
They got half the league on, yeah, basically whole league on the mic. We got the shout
Shout
out
out,
to
man. We
the
live in studio.
San Antonio Spurs. They here. The
Mm-hmm.
Chicago Bulls here. They had a really
Ooh.
big off season. We got them
Debatable.
Pelicans. Mmm.
Mm.
We got those
We got
Pelicans in
haters in
this
the
joint.
house.
Who else we got
Uh-huh.
up in here? We got them Sonics in this joint, and we got them Cavs. So we may have a
Mm.
couple
Mm.
special interviews tonight. Get a chance to hear
J-Rock
from the
still in
league.
y'all?
He on mute. All right, so Carl, how you want to run through? You want to just kind of go through each team first, or what you want to
Yeah,
do?
man. Actually, what we can do, man. We gonna keep it simple. So I say we just go roster by roster.
All right, let's get it.
Let's go.
Okay.
Mm.
So we gonna
Because
start
the
with.
thing about it is, I mean, you get to start with Philly and end with Washington. So, so that's a good thing.
So Philadelphia 76ers,
Mm.
team that had the
Mm-hmm.
number one pick.
Mm.
Who they had the number one pick. What you think about it, Colin? What you think
I'm
about?
honestly, the thing about it is, you had three guys that was rumored to go number one. They could have won that rumor. You had Elijah Fisher, you had
Mm.
Ronnie James, and
Mm-hmm.
and of course you had Michael Williams. All these guys were rumored to be in the ranking for number one. The Sixers worked out all guys, but everyone knew Bronny James was the favorite. I don't know what the hell happened in the Sixers front office that night. I don't know. Obviously some guy didn't show up, but he got locked out of some stupid shit. So they let the backup general manager take the pick, and his favorite player was Elijah Fisher, so he took Elijah Fisher number one. I honestly think from that standpoint,
Mm.
knowing for a fact that Ben Simmons' biggest weakness is perimeter shooting, granted he coming off an MVP season,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and LeBron James, a guy who's a non-shooter, would have kind of been detrimental. He's more of a mid-range. He's kind of more like DeMar DeRozan more than he is LeBron James because he's a mid-range messiah. So as a result, they're having more spacing around him. They went with a three in Elijah Fisher, who can he's a three-level scorer. And they also have Brandon Miller. I honestly think Elijah Fisher and Brandon Miller are pretty much the same type of player. This is really like, you got rid of Tobias Harris and you replaced him with a younger Tobias Harris. And I don't really think that was a good fit because the biggest thing you have not done in Philadelphia is replace the guy that you lost in free agency last year to the Washington Wizards when Joel Embiid. And now you went
Mm-hmm.
from Joel Embiid, and now you got Day'Ron Sharpe, who was a shell of himself in Brooklyn last year. When everybody know they had that big boy right there on the board. If you're gonna take, if you weren't gonna address your center position, you could have traded down. You had Bay Fall there, you had Big JJ there. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knew he was rumored to. He was linked to the Knicks, but the Knicks made other plans. We'll deal with that later. That was pretty much the wave. So I don't really like what Philadelphia did because I think they pretty much in the same boat they was in last year. I don't think they improved at all. Same boat.
Mm.
Your thoughts?
Yeah.
Mm.
I
Mm.
gotta kind of agree. I think they they basically replaced Tobias with Fisher, who I think Fisher right now is good, but he's probably not as good as Tobias at his peak right now. So I
Mm-hmm.
think long term it might be a little better fit, but I still think they front court is just a big weakness right now. I mean, Dayron
Mm-hmm.
Sharp, Chick Diallo,
Mm-hmm.
Michael Foster, 6'9" power forward, Diallo a 6'8" center power forward, and then they got Dayron Sharp. It's just not gonna be able to survive in a league that's it's getting bigger by the year. It's like it's big
Right.
more front courts are getting bigger. It's gonna be tough to deal with. Now Ben, and the other issue he got right now is not that he just got Ben, Fisher, and Miller, but none of these guys can really play the two. So he kind of stuck
Facts.
with Maxi as his two, which kind of puts him at a disadvantage there. So
Mm-hmm.
for him to have a number one pick, it would have been nice to see. It's back to back years where we seen Philly passed on Victor and went to Denver that first year or last season, and now we seeing a different type of team with who he picked with Fisher this year over some other guys that who would have been a better fit. So overall, man, I just think being is the MVP. I just think they're gonna run into the same problems. Being gonna average about 40 a game, but they
Mm-hmm.
not. I just don't see them taking that next step forward and making the playoff. So if I had to give them my all-season grade, I mean, I think the draft grade, I could give them a B for the draft
Yeah.
grade. I mean, I think it's not that he took a bad player. I just think that's not what they need today. But the
Mm-hmm.
official off-season, they had cap room. I mean, they had like 20 plus mil. They didn't really address anything. So they get a shoot F.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I have to agree with those
The
grades.
real F.
I was gonna go B
Damn.
minus.
I mean, he didn't spend no money. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's just what it is. He got a good draft grade. I guess it balanced out to like a what, a D if he got a B draft,
Uh,
F regular rest of off
Did,
season.
Dad, you nice as hell. I'm tired of it. You get a C plus for your draft grade because you didn't draft a position that a need, and you get an F for not doing a damn thing in free agency. I mean, I ain't got time. Keep Knicks. Knicks.
All right, so you know what's next? Them Chicago Bulls, and we
Okay.
and we
Mm.
and we got them on the mic too. We got them on the
Okay.
mic
So we got
today.
some interviews coming. Let's go.
All right. So I starting now. I was a fan of this bull. What Mike said, I damn near choked on my steak. Damn F.
Mm.
All right, so Chicago,
Mm.
man. This is a team, man. First, they started out making a trade for Nikola Jokic. It was a three-team deal involved Orlando, Minnesota. Um, De'Aaron Fox went to Orlando in the trade, and
hmm
Chicago was able to bring in one to me, a pretty versatile, one of the most talented centers in the game right now in Jokic. This is a guy who we already know his history. He was in Denver, went to Indiana, then left Indiana for free agency in Minnesota. Things didn't work out there. So now Chicago wanted to bring him in and pair him with AD, bringing AD back home too. So looking at that, AD and Jokic, that's tough. That's one of the toughest front courts in the league. And then you add that with Sexton and Boston, who we already know their body of work. But where this team gonna run into some issues, man, is their depth. To me, they didn't address none of their depth defensively that they kind of struggle with, in my opinion. And then it's just like they three spot right now. They got Tony Snell, 33-year-old Tony Snell at the small forward spot right now. Teams gonna look to
Mm.
try to pick that apart. I think. I'm expecting to see this Bulls team in a lot more competitive games this year, though, especially come playoff time. I still think they got the two top talented bigs overall, especially in the East, having AD and Jokic, and that's gonna put them at an advantage. But I think they're gonna struggle when it comes to this three spot with Snell, and then your benches including Schroeder, 5'9" Chris Clemens, 6'3" Shaq Harrison at the two, Daquan Jeffries at the three, 6'5" Jabari Parker, 6'8" with 35-year-old Bogdanovich back up four. I mean, I just think the depth
Mm.
right now is looking pretty scary. in a bad way. But that starting five though gonna be legit. And maybe Tony Snell will fit right in as a shooter. He won't have to do too much there. But I would have liked to seen them balance out that depth a little bit more after they got AD and Jokic together. What's your thought, Colin?
I agree with you. Fact remains, AD is the best, one of the best four mans next to Giannis in the game. I mean, you got Giannis and AD is right there with him. And AD, you can argue, might be a bit better because he actually can do some outside shooting on a consistent basis. A little better post game, you know. So, and but he's a dominant big. I think seeing how him and Jokic pair will be interesting because both of those guys can play outside, but both of those guys are most effective on the block. So we'll see exactly how teams allow those guys to be if they crowd the paint and kind of crowd the spacing out there a little bit in Chicago. But you really got to pick your poison on defense. I mean, you really got to figure out your personnel. So having AD, Jokic, pretty much getting rid of De'Aaron Fox and getting Sexton in their point guard spot. To kind of let them know that this is his team, and of course, young Brandon Boston. I mean, those four guys are solidified. There's no question about that. Outside of that, it'll be interesting how they stagger the minutes. Because at the end of the day, we know Tony Snell is a knockdown shooter, a good catch and shoot guy. But at the age of 33, he's not the defender he used to be. Dennis Schroeder at 31 is a former six-man of the year type of guy, but we're talking 4 years ago. So we'll see how he plays. We know Jabari Parker is not the athlete he used to be. And Shaq Harrison, do I need to say anything else about that name? I don't. And then, the rest of the guys I refuse to even name. So it'll be interesting to see because at the end of the day, granted they had a lot of cap space, and they went in all in on AD. And AD decided to go home and, pretty much finish out the prime years of his career, or the end of the prime years of his career in Chicago. Much respect to that. Playing against the Jazz is going to be a beautiful thing, but how they run their rotation is going to be big because when those guys come out, you talking about absolute garbage. I mean, we're just seeing some absolute horrendous bench play, and the thing about it is you don't have the trade assets to kind of balance out your depth, nor do you have the cap space. So seeing the fact that you're just going to sit there and kind of just we've seen teams that are top heavy. Being top heavy is things that a lot of teams struggle because if you don't have that balance, when you have guys, when you take out your Colin Sexton or your Brandon Boston or your AD or Jokic, and if two of those guys out in the game, what's going to happen? Three of those guys out in the game, what's going to happen? So it's going to be interesting to see how he staggers those minutes because if he overplays them, we'll see what's going to happen. So let's ask him to himself.
Like, who watching the broadcast?
Who playing back? What is that?
All right.
That's the broadcast.
Who doing it?
No, it ain't me. That ain't me.
I don't know who the. Hey, so we got
Bulls
Solo.
sitting here quiet.
So we got the Chicago Bulls on the mic right now. We got the Chicago Bulls GM on the mic. Bulls, I got a question for you. Every year you've been dealing with a lot of scrutiny in these power rankings, and you feel like you've been disrespected in several ways in every season just from your body of work. How you feel like this team right now is ready to compete for a title? What you guys say to them Knicks about it?
We personally feel like this is our best team yet. We hear a lot of talk about depth and you need 10 good players to play. All of them niggas not playing, coach. I'm going to tell you that now. What really happens is, I went the depth route a few years back. We had Markkanen, who was it? The other center, Melton, DaVincio. We had our whole bench was the starters for the damn Kings. That shit ain't get us nowhere. That shit ain't get us nowhere in the rankings. So we are here to prove we got our scorers and we got big men. You can't beat us on either end. And people talking defense, talk to AD about it.
Okay. Spicy talk. So, seeing the fact that you did make this type of affirmation, you feel like this is the best team you've ever had. What are the expectations for the Chicago Bulls going into this season and playoffs?
Championship. AD did not sign here for nothing else but a championship, or at least the finals. Nope, championship. So let me ask AD. AD, what you
Mm.
think? AD said championship.
Okay. Okay.
Boy, talking to him.
All right.
Got him
Spicy
by the
wench.
feet
So
there.
on that note, Carlisle, what kind of grade are you giving him all season? We don't have to do draft because I don't think Bulls had a
Yeah, I
draft
ain't had
pick.
no pick.
Draft is not applicable, not
So
applicable for the draft. But all season grade, honestly, when you get AD, man, I can't. I'm not gonna disrespect AD. You get AD and Jokic. I'm going to give it an A minus because of those two guys. Regardless, the issue is the depth. I'm not gonna disrespect AD and Jokic like that. I'm not. I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? You add a 99 AD and a 90 Jokic. I mean, that's an A minus. But at the end of the day, all that talk, we'll see how it go in the playoff. Point
yep,
blank period.
I gotta give him an A, man. I can't like you got Jokic, you added AD. Like you said, the depth is an issue, but I guess at the end of the day, you ain't gonna have it all necessarily all the time. But you got two big time players, and you know what Sexton and Boston can do. So I gotta give you an A, man. You did a good job this offseason. I ain't gonna lie to you. You got my
Mm.
you got my respect, Solo. I just need to. I'm ready to see it on the. I'm ready to see it this year on the court. You should be ready.
Yeah. We're interviewing you live from the practice facility right now. We're currently on the court as
All
is.
right.
We'll see you guys later.
I thought AD's contract had a clause where he didn't have to come to every practice.
Nah. That ain't the case. That ain't the case. So 1 year, we trying to
Mm.
get this done now. We
Okay.
got to build chemistry. That
Mm.
Kawhi shit. We seen what happened to Kawhi and them Clippers. We don't believe in that. Got to build the chemistry early.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
All right. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now we got the Cleveland Cavaliers up, man. Cleveland Cavaliers. They made a
Mm.
big deal too. Call out. J
Mm-hmm.
Rock is in the building. I don't know if he's still here. But we want to talk about. I mean, this Cavs team looks pretty much the same as last year with a few moves. One being Duncan Robinson, they added him, and they also traded Jimmy Butler for Robert Williams, center Robert Williams. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we thought that was a pretty, and they traded him to the Pacers. So Jimmy Butler's now in Indiana. We thought Jimmy Butler being moved. I don't know. I need niggas thoughts on that. Jimmy Butler going out of Cleveland. Do you think that puts them in a better spot this year, considering who the improvements they made out east? What do you think, Colin?
Uh, well, I think the Chicago. I said Chicago. I think the Cleveland Cavaliers made a decision to kind of focus more on, I guess, offense for outside shooting and versus what Jimmy Butler brings on both ends of the floor, I guess, because he wasn't the best outside shooter. He is 35 years old. He's in the 5 year of his contract. We know Jimmy Butler has a tendency to, test his options. If he feel like he ain't winning, he underachieving, he gonna bounce. We've seen him go from Chicago to Minnesota to Miami, and his future, he ended up in Cleveland. So I mean, it just really just depends on what's best. But I think the thing about it is what you lost in Jimmy Butler defensively cannot be replaced. We know that, and it'd pretty much be a band-aid on it at this point because you lose him, and granted you added Otto Porter, who at one part of his career was a great defender, or respected defender, but I think the biggest thing is his team went for spacing, scoring the basketball. You add Duncan Robinson, who knows an elite outside shooter. You bring back Buddy Hield, and so I think essentially you traded Jimmy Butler for Duncan Robinson, Robert Williams, and Otto Porter. I mean, it's pretty much what you look. Those are going to be three rotation guys for Jimmy Butler, and it's yet to be seen. I mean, last year I thought I will be honest. I will say I thought they had a better team last year. I know they had a deal with Robert Williams last year and it didn't fall into place. I think if Robert Williams was here last year, it would have went different. I know they were linked to Jaylen Brown in free agency. He decided to return to Seattle. I mean, who's going to turn down $200 million? So I think versus them trying to go sign somebody like a Klay Thompson or something like that, they decided to go with the depth. And that's one thing Chicago Bulls chose against. They chose the top tier talent. So I think it really depends on the franchise. So I don't necessarily know if this is going to move the needle for him because at the end of the day, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they've had a first round exit, they've had a second round exit, and they've been trying to get to the conference finals or to the finals. Does this move make that happen for them? To get past what the Charlotte Hornets did or what the Chicago Bulls did. And I don't know. So we'll see exactly how that works. So right now, I don't think it was necessarily an improvement based off, betting on free agency. But I do see the direction they're going as far as outside shooting, which was a big struggle for them last year. So we'll see.
Mm. Okay.
This?
Oh, my bad. I'm on mute. My bad. My bad. My bad. We had some technical
Damn.
difficulties.
Hmm.
So I had a question for you, Carl. Like after that. So last year
Okay.
you had the Cavs ranked number one in the East. Where you have them
Hmm.
ranked right?
Mm.
Where you got them ranked right now at this very moment? You don't have to name who ahead of them, but where you get the?
They are not in the top four, for sure.
Mm.
They that Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. They
Mm.
five at
So,
best.
so number one last year to not be so being outside the top four in the East, ladies and
They're
gentlemen.
from
Hmm.
top three to not mention at all.
So,
Yeah.
all season grade Cavs. Where we at?
Uh, I'm going to give that a C minus.
Okay.
C minus. C minus just based off the fact that like Robert Williams. I mean, we saw what. I mean, he's kind of played well. We said, Willie Cauley-Stein was a six man a few years ago. He's getting older. Robert Williams, we know, is a very solid player, but I don't think he's a guy who can anchor your defense in the front court, but he's not going to give you anything offensively. Duncan Robinson probably had the biggest role he's ever had in his career. And Buddy Hield, we saw what he did in Seattle, and he kind of struggled in Cleveland last year. So we'll see what him and D'Lo do in his backcourt. So hopefully, I think they're gonna go with the outscore teams approach, but I'm definitely gonna get that a C minus at best, and I'm being
Okay.
nice.
I like that. I
Mm.
like a C. I think about a C, C minus.
Mm-hmm.
I think he downgraded in talent. Either way it go. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think considering having he already has Buddy, I don't think Duncan is necessarily a need to have. And I feel like when it comes down to the playoffs and you got to guard guys, having Duncan and Buddy out there playing, he's gonna have to swap minutes out with these two. I don't think these two can be on the court
Mm-hmm.
together. Along with Robert Williams, who Robert Williams is good. Like he badged out, but the man is 6'8". So
Mm-hmm.
and we know how the league is kind of transitioning right now with a lot of 7 foot bigs. So it's gonna be tough. So I think a C is good for Cleveland. That's okay. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Next
All
up,
right. Do the Cavs have anything to say about that?
is
This
Cavs
young buck?
online? Cavs still here?
Cavs
Uh,
He on here. He
going
online,
once,
but
okay. No
going
comment.
twice.
All
okay,
right.
okay.
Next. All
Next
right,
up,
man, I got this. This the Memphis Grizzlies. Okay, you won a championship. You brought everybody back. You added Kelly Oubre. Congratulations. Knicks. Okay, you get an A. Knicks. I'm back to top this shit. Uh, do y'all have anything to say? The Grizzlies, do you have anything to say about your team? I mean, you literally have the exact same team,
yeah, I
except
brought
you
the
added Kelly
same.
Oubre.
Yeah, I brought same
Yeah.
squad back. Brought Ubre
You
in.
replaced Brent Forbes with Kelly Oubre. That's what you did.
Right. That's it.
So, yeah. So, I'm going to give
Mm.
you a B for that, just because I feel like giving a B because I haven't given one yet. So, do
Mm.
you have anything to say? Do you have a plan do you have a three-peat in mind?
I mean, we brought the same team back, so that's the plan.
Yeah, luxurytex.com. That's y'all website. First time in Grizzlies franchise history they played the Luxury Tex. Cap, y'all are in Cap Hill, so y'all can't really do nothing else because y'all are $23 million into the luxury tax after re-signing James Wiseman. So you
It's
have
work.
absolutely no flexibility.
It's worth
Yeah,
it though.
I mean, you won two championships. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So shout out to y'all for that. Okay. Next, we have the Charlotte Hornets.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, now we cooking with some grease.
Mm.
Go ahead, take this one, D. Start this one now.
Mm. Okay. All right. So Charlotte Hornets. I like what they did. They added Karl Anthony Towns to a unit with LaMelo Ball, who's been in the MVP race or won the MVP somewhat in the last 4 seasons in some capacity. 2023 MVP, first team All NBA, second team All NBA. He's adding Cat to that. I don't think he's had a center this dynamic all league. So it'll be interesting to see how the Hornets GM utilize Towns on this team. Towns one of the best centers in the game right now. He also was able to bring back Clay. He brought back well, Shake was already here. He brought back McDaniels. He still got Kai
Mm-hmm.
Jones. It's a team that still kept, a lot of their depth, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So, I really, I think Keith overall did a good job managing his cap space. I think he could have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think he did the best he could do, considering how much talent was out there. I mean, bringing Clay back, even though Clay's been kind of regressing a little bit, he's still Clay. He still got his badges.
Mm-hmm.
He still got a 92 open three. Um, this
Mm-hmm.
team right now, adding Cat, kind of changes their outlook for this year compared to last year. Last year they had Mo Wagner with Chris Boucher. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, guy like Azabuki. So you're not gonna
Mm-hmm.
see a lot of these guys out here now in the playoffs. You got a guy in Cat who could essentially play the majority of the game for you and play some big minutes and
Mm-hmm.
get some boards. So I like the add on with Cat. Um, what about you? What you think?
Hey, shout out to the Hornets, man. The Hornets have had, honestly, about 2 years ago, I had him voted as best off season. I didn't vote that last year, but this year, being able to bring back your key guys, LaMelo, Jaden, and Clay, while also adding Cat, that's maximizing the cap space. And then still, you had Shake, Devontae Graham, who I don't know how many minutes he's gonna play because he's 6'1", but he'll get some minutes. I guess spot minutes. We'll see. But Shake Milton, bringing him back, he was great for him last year. He'll probably play more shooting guard this year. Clay's a little older. Clay's has definitely got slower. So we'll see how he does as far as being able to be, on the perimeter. But I mean, you got a guy like Cat in that paint, and of course he got his three, a 7 foot, a 6'11" big. He got the four. I like the Hornets, man. Honestly, the Hornets are my favorites to come out the East. Realistically, I mean, I
Mm,
think they have a chance to do it. I think they have the best opportunity to do that this year by adding Cat. And if they can maximize him, I think he'll be a guy who takes a lot of threes this year for them, and be able to also be able to force on the paint. And so it's gonna be good. So shout out to the Hornets, man. I get it an A plus actually. I think I get him an A plus. He the first A plus I get.
Mm.
mm. I give him an A. I give him an A.
Mm,
I think
okay.
with Keith it's about just seeing the body of work at the end of the day. Hopefully he's able.
Facts.
He got Cat now. Lamelo a 90. Um, I don't want to hear a lot of excuses. I feel like you gotta stop making excuses so much and just play ball. So I give him
Yeah,
an
ain't no
A.
damn excuses now. All that whining shit gotta stop. You win or you shut the fuck up. I will say that.
Man,
So
that was aggressive,
I give
Coco.
mine.
Yeah,
And that
I
nigga
gotta
say
say
shut
that.
the fuck up on network TV. Man, that
That
was
boy finna get suspended.
aggressive.
That boy finna get suspended on his own show. I will say this about
I ain't gonna.
Devontae. I will say this about Devontae though. He did play year one with him, and he killed with Devontae. I mean, he averaged 20 with him, 40% from three. So as his backup, I mean, maybe he'll play a little bit more, but who knows? He did play a first game against Dallas. I think he's the only person that played so far. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
anybody else, but he beat Dallas 125, 113. A lot of these shooting percentages are pretty bad. So it's going to be interesting to see how he shoots with Cat. He struggled with Cat. Cat went 3 for 10 from three.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be
Clay
interesting to
went
see
7
how
to
this.
21.
So it's going to be interesting in the long game. But
Mm.
the overall, man, you brought in Cat. That's the second best big in the off season behind what AD, I think.
AD and
So
Jokic, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
they right there.
so you can't knock him for that. That's a good off season
Yeah,
right there.
that's a good
Okay,
offseason for
okay.
sure.
Now we got these New York Knicks.
Okay.
Mm.
The New York Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
So New York Knicks. This is a team that they had Kawhi for the last what 3 seasons, 3 out of 5
Mm-hmm. Four
Mm.
out of
seasons,
five. 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
Well, 3 out of 5.
Um,
Yeah, three. I ain't having year one, year two, two, three, and four. Yeah.
they made a big move moving Devin Booker to Golden State last season, bringing in Steph Curry. Had Steph and Kawhi teamed up. They fell short in the finals, and they decided to blow it up. Surprisingly, after they got 2 top 5 picks, LeBron James Jr. fell to New York, and so now he's in the Big Apple. with his best friend Mikey Williams. Mikey Williams, who probably gonna end up being a better prospect over LeBron James Jr., which is wild to think about. But they also brought back Josh Green. They got Kevin Herter in the trade for Kawhi, along with the number 3, number 5 pick. While Steph went to Boston, they got KP back, which KP was kind of looking at other places. He was looking at Chicago. He was looking at Charlotte. But eventually he ended up going back to New York. Got paid a 5-year max deal. And then this team recently just made a sign and trade with OG Anunoby, sending him to OKC for Yusuf Nurkic. So this team decided to go with Nurkic and Porzingis in their front court with LeBron James, Josh Green, Kevin Herter, Mikey Williams. I think overall, it's going to be interesting to see how this team pans out together, see how they fit together. It's pretty much a brand new roster outside of a couple of guys. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys play together overall together. Anybody else got any comments? Or you got any comments, Colin, on what you did?
I mean, I'll let the questions can come to me. I ain't gonna be rude. I'll let the men talk as they may.
Okay.
Anybody got something to say? Questions, comments, concerns?
I have a question for you.
I got a question, Colin.
You go first.
Is your Ricky Baker starting, Colin?
Yes. Both guys they had in training camp for game 1. They will start. We went through training camp, and Mike Williams did win the starting point guard job for the foreseeable future. LeBron James Jr. also will get some minutes at small forward as well as shooting guard. We like his playmaking ability with that starting lineup being a secondary ball handler next to Mikey Williams. And the biggest thing is being able to have we decided to go with more of a youth movement as far as in a perimeter. We kind of struggled with athleticism on last year. Getting up and down the floor, with the way the game has changed and shifted, it's a lot more fast paced. So we definitely wanted more athleticism and perimeter scoring on the perimeter. And then, of course, we replace Steph with Mike Williams and Kawhi with LeBron James Jr. These guys have a lot of pressure on them to perform, but at the end of because this is the Big Apple, but we did do a lot of studying about player psyche and evaluation. We added Carmelo Anthony as an assistant coach to bring in young guys who can really come in and try to develop a culture here and let them understand what the Big Apple really represents.
We have a question that came in from online. Someone said, "How many?" This is Sonic's owner asks, "How many threes will LeBron James Jr. shoot this year?"
Okay. LeBron James Jr. has worked extremely hard on his perimeter jump shot. We are yet working with it. His dad has spent extra money to try to get this jump shot respectable. To be respectable in the league. It will take some time as far as his three-point shot, but we believe in him and his confidence and being able to be an elite player from the perimeter. Eventually.
How many he gonna shoot though, Carla?
That's up to him. I can't play for LeBron James. I just control him in the game, and he'll take what the defense gives him.
Now,
they gonna be giving him them motherfucking three.
So, also, what number is he wearing? Is he chose a number yet in the Big Apple? Jersey number?
Ain't no more cookies, bro. Bye.
He actually chose the number 0. Actually, him and Jalen LeCue are friends, and Jalen LeCue's, he know that both those players they both love Russell Westbrook, and they play rock paper scissors for it on at an event. And
how him and Jalen LeCue friends?
Hey man.
And they 5 years apart.
I don't know how your organization runs. I don't know how things run in your organization, but we are a close family in New York. I don't know what y'all doing in New Orleans, but thank you. That's what happened.
Okay.
Any other questions?
If I had to give a grade, I'd give them I'd give the Knicks a B. I think the fit is gonna be the biggest thing with LeBron James Jr. at the 2 or the 3. See how he fits with his shooting ability. Done. And then also just spacing overall with the team. So it'll be an interesting look going from a team that had a guy that could space the floor, shoot, about 35 plus feet out, versus having more of a team that's going to be run and gun, a lot less spacing. So we'll see how it all plays
Mm,
out.
Okay.
Okay, okay. Next up,
mm,
all right, we getting down to the nitty gritty. We got Orlando, we got
mm,
Denver. These two teams had big. We got the Pelicans. Then we
mm.
got the Spurs, the Suns, the Sonics, and the Wizards. So we got some key names popping up. We got some key names popping up. Carla, I'll let you start with Orlando.
Okay, these Orlando Magic. Honestly, I think the Orlando Magic have absolutely no excuse not to make the postseason this year after consecutive years of missing it. Um, the fact that these guys replaced, of course, Van Fleet, he had a pretty mediocre year leaving Toronto. Actually, he played in New Orleans and was pretty good there. Then he didn't really like the fit there. They decided to go with Kyrie Irving, so his days were numbered. He ended up in Orlando. And De'Aaron Fox is a guy that they've coveted for about 3 years now, and they finally got an opportunity to do it. Seeing the fact that Chicago Bulls need to clear some cap space to add, of course, they do AD and Jokic. So having Matt Flynn as the backup point guard, a 3-and-D point guard that they can play behind Fox. Malik Beasley was there last year. They added Jeremy Lamb. And the biggest thing, last year they added MPJ at the deadline. And they got Sabonis healthy this season, so there's absolutely no excuse. They didn't have a draft, anything but in free agency to be able to add, Matt Flynn and Jeremy Lamb, but the De'Aaron Fox trade. That's where they should have absolutely no excuses. You have the players that you wanted. You covered Sabonis. You covered De'Aaron Fox. You have everything that you need offensively and defensively to be effective this season. There's absolutely no excuse. The Orlando Magic have a better overall roster than the Cleveland Cavaliers. There's no excuse for them not to make the playoffs this season. I don't want to hear any excuses. I know the
Oh
Orlando
shit.
Magic front office, they deal with fatigue all the time. Anybody got time for it? Everybody tired.
Bunch of
So
tired
we here
niggas
for
in that front office.
a lot of guys. I don't know what age or health issues they have in their front office, but they need to figure it out because it doesn't translate to on the court success. So overall, I want to give their offseason grade a B. So you get a B grade, but the expectation is playoffs or bust. Period.
I got to go with A minus B plus. I mean, getting
Mm-hmm.
Fox, I like Fox a lot. I felt like he was a good person, good player to have in Chicago. But I understand why they let him go. I feel like Fox with Williams, Zaire Williams, MPJ, Sabonis. I mean, that's one of the best big fours in the league. So I think if you know how to use them, Fox and MPJ should really dominate most of the time. Zaire Williamson being 6'8", play the 2 or the 3. He should be able to dominate in this time. He coming into last year, his contract probably gonna want max money, so he should be, dominating at the 2. Then you got Sabonis. He was able to bring Sabonis back, which I felt like was a pretty big move. That's what kind of balances out between that A and that B. So, like you said though, like the moves don't matter. Like, I feel like he made some good moves last year, but he took a step
Mm-hmm.
back. So it's gonna be it's the final season is gonna say a lot about this Orlando Magic team. They definitely got the talent. No reason why they shouldn't make the playoffs because really the expectation with this roster, they should be a couple rounds deep into the playoffs, not just making the playoffs.
Yep. Absolutely.
Big.
Absolutely.
Got the next up. We're finna go back west
Okay.
to these Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets.
Mm.
These Denver Nuggets got a couple Knickerbockers on the team, former Knickerbockers.
They've been
We got,
cooling us for a year. First it was Thon last year, now it's Shalish, Obi,
and
and
I think,
Booker.
and
Shit.
I think we got is the Nuggets on. Are the Nuggets in the house right now?
I think he has a rocket issue.
So,
Mm.
so yeah.
Okay, there you go.
So we got the Nuggets in the house, man. Before we get going on your team, Denver, look at Rocket in the background. What's your thoughts on what you did this
What's that
offseason?
nigga at? Niggas say they having a rocket issue.
What you thought? What's your thoughts on what you did this off season, Kelly?
Oh shit.
Damn.
Okay. This boy
Okay,
can't even
okay.
control his kids. Dang.
You want to go, Carlo?
Yeah, man, I'll get
Uh,
it out the way. Uh, with the Denver Nuggets, of course, we know they made a big move last year by adding Jonathan Isaac, and getting rid of MPJ. CJ McCollum, who's no longer with the organization, was more so a filler to kind of position themselves for cap space this summer. And I think they maximized on their cap space this summer. I will say that because, of course, they have underachieved drastically through 4 years. So we will see exactly what the expectations are this year because even after that move, we was told that was going to be the difference and how successful it was going to be. And, of course, unfortunately, they fell short in the second round to a 4-0 sweep. So this year, it's going to be interesting to see how things go because they drafted another young center in David Oyanda Ibanzo. I thought they would have went shooting guard at their positions, and in fact they were losing C.J. McCollum, but they went with backup center, which is probably one of the most least utilized effective positions in the game. And we've seen them have backup centers in Denver before, who really didn't get that much playing time. So I'll be curious to see if this guy gets a lot of playing time as a rookie. But I like the Obi Toppin signing. Obi Toppin is a elite shooter for a four-man. Very athletic. Bring that what they had in Aaron Gordon potentially in Denver in real life. But Obi Toppin to back up Bobo and can also play next to Bobo. I think he'll get a lot of playing time there. I like Dylan Windler as a shooter. For them, Tarian Prince, add more spacing. We know that they're a play-heavy offense. And, of course, one of my favorite young guys in the league is Emmanuel Quickly. I think he'll definitely take a lot of pressure off Jamal Murray because he can definitely play, and he's really solid defensively. So I think this is probably the best overall roster they have had since they traded Nikola Jokic a few years ago. It'll be interesting to see how that shooting guard position works out for him. I would probably expect Dylan Windler to get a lot of minutes at shooting guard. Adrian Griffin, who played shooting guard, started shooting guard for him last year. I don't know exactly what his role will be this year. Maybe backup shooting guard if they decide to put Windler in that spot. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, that shooting guard position, which is probably their biggest position need. Jonathan Isaac, hopefully he can probably take a step up for them offensively to keep some pressure on the defense.
okay.
But it'll be interesting to see how they play. I think overall they had a pretty solid offseason. So that will be I get them a B, solid B.
Okay, solid B. I like that. I think I gotta
Policy.
give I gotta give them a I'm gonna have to give you an A minus B plus two somewhere between there. I think the draft grade is a little bit lower because I agree. I think you could have went somewhere else with that pick instead of back up five. I mean, I think you got several guys that can play that five spot. Even Isaac, honestly, being 6'11" at times. But that two spot is going to be interesting because right now his best two is Jerome Robinson. And then, but I'm assuming that Windler or Griffin are playing that starting two spot too, versus one of them guys. So that two spot is probably the weakest spot right now, or at least the spot with the most questions. And then figuring out, whether Isaac gonna take that next step, how Obi gonna look, what Bobo gonna end up doing. But like you said, Carl, it's a team that I mean, they made a good move last year, and then they met the Spurs in the playoffs and got put out.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see how this team today can balance that out, and maybe they can get past, the teams in the West and maybe make it to the finals or the conference final. Is Kelly back?
Right. Is he back?
So my grade, I'll give B plus, A minus. Carl, like you said, what, B? About a B?
Hold on. You said what? I'm sorry. What'd you say?
You did a B? You said a B?
Yeah, I did a B. A B plus.
Okay,
B
okay.
plus would be good.
Okay. Nuggets may lose their spotlight time.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
What are the Go ahead, Diz. You got the first question. This nigga here. Sport PHB.
We go. The Nuggets, are you here? First question is, how do you expect your team to take that leap forward this year compared to last season? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Okay. 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 Carlisle, you had a question?
Uh, Not with that background, I don't. I'll just say that alone lets me know I don't have a question. That's just based off that alone. Next, is this a championship season for the Denver Nuggets? Okay. So right now we have the Denver Nuggets and the Chicago Bulls affirmations of winning a championship. And so we're expecting that to be two new teams for the first time in this my league meeting in the finals. Let's see how that goes. Thank you, Kelly, for
Mm.
your time.
Mm.
Oh,
Thank you for your
your
time.
time, yeah.
We're gonna have to
Yes, you can go now. You can go now. Thanks. Uh, Next is go ahead.
All right, so we got Nuggets out the way. Next up, we got another West team. First year champs, the New Orleans Pelicans. New Orleans
Hmm.
Pelicans. Um, what's your thoughts on it, Carla?
Um. Same. Honestly, look like the same damn team to me. Outside of Kendrick Nunn and Jordan Clarkson. Well, they added Joe Harris. So I think Tim
Yeah.
Hardaway Jr. is gone, who was very solid for them last year. Had a really good season. Um, Jordan Clarkson should bring some of the same type of feel for them as far as him and Joe Harris should add outside scoring. Um, so, Clarkson can play some, but I really like the Javante Taylor draft pick, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Having a 6'10 small forward. This is a team who got rid of Brandon Ingram last year in order to acquire Kyrie Irving. And so to be able to have a wing like that who can be long, athletic, he's not the best defender. Um, Kind of poor lateral quickness, but his length and athleticism can make up for that. I'm assuming he's rumored to have some times where he'll start, but between him and Ingram that they added last year, I expect both of those guys to be bigger contributors for them this year. Ingram, like I said, took off in the playoffs, and Javante Taylor, they have a program to what, like I said, they've been trying to build around Zion. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays out for them this year, as far as him being that pick. I mean, they're a lot younger as far as their younger guys, but as far as their perimeter, but they're kind of old in a lot of areas. Like Joe Ayers is 33, Kyrie's 32, Cleaver 32, McDermott 32, Miles Leonard 32, Clarkson 32. I mean, they have a good mixture of young guys and old guys. It's just gonna be figure out how the rotation will go out. We know that Zion and Kyrie are your starters. And Jackson Hayes, 9 to 10 man that's starting center position. The shooting guard position and the small forward position are kind of up in the air as far as I think who will be day one starter for them. I think we can see those positions interchangeable throughout the season to kind of gain some consistency and balance out the rotation. But it'll be interesting to see how things play out. I think Doug McDermott it's his job to lose. But I think Taylor and Ingram will have something to say about that. And as far as with Kendrick Nunn, he got Clarkson Harris who got something to say about that. And I think Ingram has the opportunity to play either the 2 or the 3. So it'd be good to see how things work out for them. So overall, I don't think it was horrible. I don't think they had a bad offseason at all. So I like what they did with the 9th pick and Taylor, 8th pick and Taylor. So I think a draft grade, I'll give them a B+ on a draft grade. Offseason, I'm going to give them a C- for the free
Okay.
agency.
Okay. I like what New Orleans did, especially with the pick. I think the pick deserves an A, honestly. I mean, it's not too many guys you find 6'10", can play the 3, is a good shooter. I mean, they got Kyrie, and this was the type of player that they needed, I think, to add with Zion and Kyrie. Like they needed a third guy that could potentially kind of put some pressure off them. They had shooters last year, but I think they didn't have another like go-to scorer. They had Tim Hardaway Jr., but I think Javante kind of provides a little bit more of a mismatch, being that he's 6'10". They also added Clarkson, who they're gonna be a good fit for him off the bench. Um, Overall, and then they got Jackson Hayes still. Jackson Hayes still here. They got Ingram coming in. I mean, I played them in the playoffs last year. I feel like they were one of the toughest outs. Especially, I mean, we got them in 6, but I think Kyrie was just tough. He was tough to guard. And then they had guys who, man, these centers who I want to talk about. I mean, Dylan Anderson. I mean, I'm familiar with him. I'm familiar with what the other guys you had, BHB? I don't know where he is. I think it was Cap name. That man, I'm familiar with him.
Kevin,
So I mean, yeah. So the Pelicans got size out here, man. I say that. So I give them for the all season overall. I give them a B, and I give them an A on the draft though. So we got the Pelicans on the broadcast too. Kind of want to hear their thoughts. Any questions?
All right. Who question from me or
Nah,
from the audience?
the audience. Any questions for the Pelicans? I got one. I got one for you.
All right.
So what you feel like was the biggest need this team needed, your biggest need to fill going into the off season, and how you feel like you addressed it?
Well, I mean, after losing Tim Hardaway Jr. to he didn't go nowhere. He just wanted more money that we couldn't give him. So after losing him, I knew I needed to get a small foot. I mean, not a small foot, but a 2 guard to fill in his spot. And I mean, I went into the draft thinking that I needed to get another scorer, and Javante happened to fall into my hands, and I think I'm gonna move him around some, play with it. He actually might be my backup 4. Come in and give Zion some minutes, because Maxi Cleveland, we kind of paying him to stay at the crib. So I think we covered our needs, man. We got shooters. We added Joe Harris. We still kept McDermott. And I mean, if push come to shove, Javante will probably end up starting later in the season. But as of right now, we got McDermott starting at the 3, and we got Ingram bagging him up, but we got Javante bagging up Zion, and we'll probably finish the game more with Javante and Jordan Clarkson on the floor more so than Dunn and McDermott. So I think we got a nice mixture of offense and defense. I feel like, you know what I'm saying. So
we also got an online question. We got an online question came in from the Sonics. How many threes will Zion shoot this year?
Zion will take.
He shot 48. He shot 48 last year. He shot 21 the year before that.
Oh, this year Zion he'll probably take at least 2 threes a game. At the minimum, I want to at least get up 2 threes a game with him. because he a great shooter, but he just got it's a quirky ass release that's kind of tough to master. So shit, I don't want to put the ball up a lot with him. But yeah, at least 2 threes a game, man.
So
At
that's
least.
probably about about close to 60 attempts. So higher than last season. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other questions for these Pelicans?
Good luck,
Mm,
Pierce.
mm.
Appreciate you.
Okay. Okay. All right. Next up. All right. Next up, we got the San Antonio Spurs. The San Antonio
Mm.
Spurs. Call out. What's your thoughts? Well, let me run through a few transactions first. Murray.
Okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
Murray came back. Spurs continue to show the type of franchise they are. They respect their players. They want to keep their players around. They paid Murray big time on a 5-year deal. How much was that 5-year deal? Spurs, let me see.
200 mil.
200.
5 years,
200
200,
million.
200.16. They also, and
Yeah.
surprisingly, John Collins declined his option, and the Spurs was able to bring him back on a 4-year deal for 88 mil. So this was a guy that really
Mm.
wasn't in the plans after he declined the option, but they were able to work things out. They also brought back Cam Johnson on 3 years, 16 mil, and then they brought back McCallum on a 3-year, $20 million deal. Now forget they also brought back Devin Vassell, 4 years, 87 mil. So you
Mm.
got a team that spent some money this year. They spent money. They brought their team back. They were in the Western Conference Finals last year and went 6 games. They felt like they were really close. Um, this team overall, they got Mobley coming back. Mobley's better than last year. This is a guy that's been growing as a player. One of probably going to end up being their best player this year. And don't forget about Lonnie Walker. We already know what he is. And then Trey Jones, 6 Man of the Year candidate last season. What's your thoughts on this team, Carlock, and how you think them kind of bringing this core back will fit into this season?
Well, San Antonio Spurs are that's an organization we know probably one of the most classiest organizations in the league, and they have been ran that way for, the better part of 30 years now, and much respect to it. I do thought I thought it was interesting as far as how the John Collins situation was handled, but I don't know exactly where the negativity came in at that point. But it seemed like they worked out for them in the grand scheme of things, which is good because I thought he was really good for their franchise. So I'm glad that they were able to work that out because I know that's where he wanted to be. He just wanted to see what his value was, and I think they did right by paying him in the grand scheme of things and kind of run this thing back. I mean, I think that team was very solid last year. They had a lot of opportunities to be effective offensively and defensively. And I think this year with Vassell, I know he did a lot of work in the offseason to kind of, improve on his offensive game. I expect him to take a huge step this year to kind of be, what they feel like he needs to be offensively. I mean, he's about 14 points, but this guy shot 50% from the field, 47% from three, and 84% from the free throw line. So I'm expecting, a guy who can become almost a 18 to 19 point scorer this year and still be that effective. So I think Evan Mobley, of course, was a double machine for them, along with John Collins. So I think this is a solid team. They kind of they keeping this core together, and you don't see that often. With teams just kind of saying, "I'm gonna run it back," and so much respect to the San Antonio Spurs, man. I gotta get them an A just for how everything they do. So. Spurs, y'all have anything to say about why y'all? So let me ask you a question. What happened with the John Collins situation?
It was a clerical error, color. we
A
got we
clerical
gotta
error?
take yeah, we gotta take it care of.
So
Okay.
did so did
Is
Woj
it?
so Woj tweeted out that y'all fell apart, or he just got the wrong information?
It was a wrong. It was a leak, man. You see, nobody didn't ever offer him because the real people knew. They knew he wasn't gonna go nowhere.
Okay. So with
Mm-hmm.
this clerical error, is that person still with the organization?
No, we had the same face, so they had to go. They got fairly compensated,
Yeah.
so it is
Yeah.
what it
Cause
is, man.
okay.
Niggas.
They were fairly
Education.
compensated for their time, color.
Okay. I got you. I got you. Okay. So,
I I got a
how
question.
engaged is
Oh, you
Deontay
gotta
Murray
go,
this
go, go.
season?
What was that?
How engaged is Deontay Murray this season? I know they had some discouragement in the offseason. What is he looking like as far as with his leadership? going into the season.
Murray want to come out and show everybody why he got that 200 million. I highly doubt he'll get the MVP love he deserve because of the type of niggas that's in the league. But that's the year we're going for. We're going for trying to get like a triple dub year call out.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh, we got
Um,
a question coming down the pipe. It's an online question. A tweet was spotted.
what? Who was
What's the
what
tweet,
happened?
B?
They said a tweet from DeMar DeRozan just came up.
Okay. What did it say?
It's coming in right now. It just hit.
Okay.
Where is it?
The tweet just
A
came in
tweet
from.
just.
DeMar DeRozan. Okay. I'm
He's-
waiting.
It said he scuffed at the idea that the Spurs take care of their players. He doesn't disagree.
He doesn't agree.
I mean, he
No,
doesn't
wait a
agree.
minute. What they
Wow.
tweeted?
It's on the broadcast.
It's in the broadcast.
Let me pull up the broadcast. See what I'm
And then
saying.
and then the Sonics also asked how many threes will Murray take this year. He took he took 47 last year, 64 the year before that.
Probably about 100, Mike.
Yeah, he was at 100 first 2 years.
You probably go back to 100 total, Mike.
So what thoughts on DeRozan? Comments?
Hey man, we hate that he feel that way. We'll send our condolences to him and his family.
Let me see.
All right, so Spurs.
All right.
I think. Hold on. So Spurs. What'd you give him, Carla?
I gave him A.
Okay. I think B plus. No, A minus. I give him an A minus. I think they brought back everybody that they should have brought back. Essentially. This is a team like at the end of the day, like they were 2 games away from the finals. So similar to the I think Sonic situation the year before, they were 1 game away. I felt like maybe they should have kept their squad too. So I think Spurs really believe in their team. And I respect that. So I give them an A minus off season. Okay.
Okay.
All right, we got 2 teams? No, 3 teams left. Phoenix, who didn't do anything different. Where is it? So I'm looking at the team, and I'm like, I mean, they got JV backing up DeAndre Ayton. What's your thought? I mean, what's your thoughts on this Phoenix team, Carla? Jalen Green and where he's at right now.
Well, there's been rumblings that Jalen Green is hoping that the Phoenix Suns do not match any offer sheet that he gets this offseason because he's extremely unhappy with how the organization has handled their success. I mean, he feel like the thing about it is he's been great, but they have won 1 playoff game in his 3 years in the league, and he just wants a bigger opportunity to not be. He said, and I quote, "I don't want to be a regular season champion. I want to be a playoff champion." And we kind of saw this with Devin Booker a few years ago when they added Chris Paul, and then of course they didn't like the way the new Suns ownership was when he ended up in New York, where he won a championship in New York because they had a different mentality. And now Jalen Green is being subjected to the same things, and we don't really know exactly where this organization stands. I mean, they added Val to back up Aiden. Still have Aaron Gordon, power forward position is still kind of the same. You got Bridges Hunter, it's kind of the exact same team. And just a lot of unnecessary, it really didn't do anything. It's kind of like, okay, what now? What did you do to kind of get out of that first round, to kind of take yourself to another level? And no moves have been made to kind of move the needle. So literally, it's like a daggum tape that's on repeat, and it's like one damn song just playing over and over again. So it's like, what are you gonna do differently? and so I'm highly disappointed. So I'm going to give them a D, and just because I'm in a good
Mm.
mood.
Yep. I
Mm.
think I'm gonna be a little bit more generous. I think looking at they got a draft pick, number 21 pick. They got Evans, 6'10" small forward, 79 three ball. He was 75 overall.
Where is
Um,
he going to play?
I think he's gonna find a way to put him in the game because he don't have any guys over 6'10" or taller outside of his two centers who can only can play one position, and he got Jalen Smith, who is 6'10", and I don't think I mean, he's played pretty well over the last couple of years, but Kwame Evans is the only other guy 6'10" or tall on his team, man. I think he's gonna probably deserve at least a look. Um, this team,
Mm.
this team been dealing with some of the same issues the last 3 seasons. This power forward spot's been kind of a struggle. So um, I'm gonna give him a C minus. Um, no, I'm gonna give him a D plus.
Thank you.
Mm.
Stop lying. Anybody got time for no C's? That is not
I'm gonna give him a
average.
D. I'm gonna give him a D plus,
That is below
cause
average.
because it's really honestly like, man. I mean, JV, Kwame Evans. I like the pick, but come on, it's just not. It's just not enough out there. It's just not enough. This is a team that I think they made a playoff. They didn't make the playoffs what the last 3 years. Um,
Yes,
they
and
made the
they
playoffs.
won one game.
Yeah, they won one game the last 3 seasons, man. So kind of disappointed as well. But we'll move on, man, from Phoenix. Disappointed, disappointed. All right, next up, Supersonics, and then last we got the Wizards.
Okay.
Supersonics. They've been asking a lot of questions, man, on the broadcast. How you want to break down the squad, Colin?
I mean, with Seattle, um, we know they had horrible depth issues last year. That was a big thing in Seattle, but they addressed it this year. Truly, I mean, for one, their shooting guards are about adding Victorious Miller, who was a great acquisition for them. A guy who is can play both shooting guard and small forward. Great athletically, can shoot, can play solid defense. And I thought when they added him, Jalen Brown was going to be out of the picture. But to bring him back and add Victorious Miller is definitely going to help out their depth issues. They added more shooting in Monty Morris, more length in the perimeter with PJ Dozier, and Harrison Barnes, who will probably play a lot of stretch four for them, backing up
Oh,
Wendell Carter.
oh,
I like it. I mean, last year I was disgusted at seeing Denzel Valentine and guys like that get playing time in this day and age. So to see the depth and the balance by adding him, and they also added Richard Isaacs, another young point guard, who's going to be a solid defender, for them. To kind of make up there from what Morris and Trey Young don't do, he'll definitely be able to do late in games playing it, and PJ Dozier as well. So I think they have. This is a solid team. I think this is it. This is the team that an organization that we know that Seattle can be, and I think that they have the depth that they need to kind of propel themselves through the West. I think that um, I was really shocked about Jalen Brown. I know he was really linked to Cleveland. I know it came down to those two teams. So to see him come back, man, I think it's huge for them. Because if they would lost Jalen Brown, I think I would not be as excited for their overall roster because they would still have depth issues. But I think
I,
that this is going to be solid. Kind of concerned a little bit about backup power forward just from a rebounding standpoint. Seeing the fact that Holmes and Turner are true fives as well as Cantor. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out sometimes when Wendell comes out of the game. But
Hmm.
outside of that, man, I got to give them draft grade. I want to give that an A. Free agency, I'm going to give that a B minus. I think Ross, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, I think I like they draft considering. Um, I mean, they had a couple picks in this draft, and I think they nailed on pretty much all
Mm-hmm.
of them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Isaacs was a good pickup. We talked about Victorious Miller already, who was a number 4 pick. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then also it looked like they brought in Amir Coffey, undrafted
Mm-hmm.
guy. I don't know if he was already there. No, he wasn't. He been.
Mm-hmm.
He was with the Clippers back in 2019. Hey, Mike brought somebody in from
Mm-hmm.
5 years ago. I, um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, and then they got the Harrison Barnes signing. I think this team, like I said, they were really close the year before. And then we played last year playoffs. I think what happened in the playoffs was kind of surprising, but I think, like you said, a lot of it was lack of depth. Having guys like John
Mm-hmm.
Henson, Denzel Valentine, I mean, guys that man just they had no business being out there. So he was kind
Mm-hmm.
of forced to play a lot of his starters a lot
Mm-hmm.
more and tiring them out. So I think now that he kind of adjusted with the depth and bringing Jalen Brown back, Cam Reddish improving, and Victorious Miller. I think those guys, man, and Wendell and Miles Turner, that's a tough defensive front court to deal with too. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, I think a draft grade and a B off season grade. You're gonna be off season.
Okay. All right.
La- and and last but not least, or I don't even know what happened here.
Least but
Uh,
not last.
I don't know what happened
Least
with this
and
list.
last.
Least, these Washington Wizards, man, I mean, they went to work last year as far as transactions go. They probably put together one of the more dominant big threes in the league between Bill, PG, and Embiid. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but the team just and plus they got Brogdon, they got Jeremy Grant. But the team just underperformed last year, heavily underperformed, and even lost to a Hornets team that didn't even have LaMelo Ball for the majority of the series,
Mm-hmm.
which was pretty bad. Honestly, this team at this point, I think they didn't really. They drafted ZZ Clark, who I think was a good pickup. I give them some credit there. But just to give a quick grade, I think I give them a B for the draft. But for the off season overall, this team is this already put together. I think it's right now is a not applicable or a D C minus situation with this off season, probably a D plus. But this team really just needs to perform. I mean, you got Brogdon, Beal, PG, Grant, Embiid. I mean, like that's it. Like it really don't matter what the rest of this roster look like at this point. You can stagger these guys and have these guys see what they win you. So, what's your thoughts on it, Cole?
You too damn nice. He didn't do shit. He got the same team. He underachieved last year. And at the end of the day, you just being nice because we on a TV show. No, I'm not doing that. He didn't need no point guard. That was not a position of need. He just that was just he got him cool. I give you a C. Cute. At the end of the day, you didn't do anything because you didn't need to do anything. Your damn team was solid. Your biggest weakness position was power forward, and you didn't address that. You still got Jeremiah Grant started. I'm not impressed because at the end of the day, you had the best chance to come out of the Western Conference last year with the best team, the best players, and you didn't do it. And the guy who didn't have his best player, and you still couldn't pull it off. So now that these teams are better, the Chicago Bulls are better, the Charlotte Hornets are better. Are you going to get past them? Absolutely not. If you couldn't do it last year, you ain't gonna do it this year. F F
Definitive,
F
absolutely
next.
not.
And
Crazy.
Wow. Wow, what a way to end the team the team discussions.
Bitch ended with a bang.
All right. So
damn.
so either call out one thing, either we can go ahead and cut it short rest of the night and follow back up later in the week on power rankings, or we can do a quick
Mm-hmm.
power rankings right now. We don't have to do no in depth if you don't want to, but we can kind of go through these
Um,
teams. What you want to do?
I mean, we can. I think we should do it later. See how these guys play. I want to see how cold these guys do. See a couple of user games play out first before we do the power rankings. I think that'll make it a little bit more interesting. But I will say that these guys, man, it'll be interesting to see how some of these guys do this year. I have a lot of high expectations for people this year because a lot of y'all, everybody, got teams I think that they kind of wanted. I didn't hear anybody say they were disappointed off season, things didn't go right. I had to patch things together. So the confidence is there. I want to see who confidence gonna get broken first. Cause every year we had somebody feel like they did this right, and then they start losing some user games, and then bam, guess what happened? They submitting trades trying to get rid of the guy that they thought was gonna make a difference. Who are they gonna be this year? We'll see. We'll see. But at the end of the day, this the last season. I hope everybody have a lot of fun. Y'all know ain't gonna be no can we extend it. I just hope everybody kind of get through this year, enjoy it. Let's go and have fun. I'm expecting to see some competitive games this week. And then I say around Thursday days, I think Thursday will be our next show. We can do Thursday around 7, season 7, something like that. And then we can kind of just figure it out from there.
Sounds
Ooh, I
good.
gotta watch call out commentary on the road.
Yep,
Yeah,
we got
man.
some
So,
good games coming up this week, so appreciate y'all.
Road
This was the
commentary.
last off season.
does anybody have anything that they want to say? Any critiques about anything?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Okay,
Brian
everybody
Mays
sleepy.
on
I'm
defense
sleepy as
weekend.
well. Okay. About zone defense, how about no? But we will make a proposal about that I think that'll be decent, but we'll talk about that at another date.
Yep.
Mm.
I was talking about 2K22 anyway.
Yeah.
Uh,
I got you. Look at LeBron.
Just for
Okay, y'all, man. Look. Ooh. Bronny just hit a 3 on me in practice.
just for
So yeah, I've been
clarification,
working on it.
I don't think nobody got a problem with zone defense, y'all. I just think when you got it in the game and people use it, then people start complaining about different things. I ain't never had an issue about zone defense. I don't think a lot of other guys
mm-hmm.
had a lot of issues about zone defense, but it always causes a stir. So it's probably a way to work it out. But I ain't a guy that
Yeah.
say never. Like we always looking to make things
Yeah.
better. So
Yeah, it's all about having a fair and managed league. The biggest thing is I think it's safe to say it'll never be a full time game thing, no matter what. I don't think it'll ever be utilized
Mm-hmm.
what it's gonna be. But I think in certain situations I can see it being utilized at times, but it'll never be 100%. But like I said, that is not gonna be effective in 21. But we will revisit things in 21 as a committee, as a team, because like I said, we just want to have a solid league. Hopefully, 2K give us a better league. I know we ask for it every year and they let us down every year. So we're gonna keep having high hopes and see what happens.
cool. All right, that's
Good
it.
job, fellas.
Appreciate it. Y'all take care. Holler at y'all Thursday.
Mm-hmm. What Quan at?